What a cotton picking disaster. Ah, I don't know why that is. We did the same thing we always do. But if you can hear me and see me and there's no lag, I am ecstatic. Thank you for being here. Happy Saturday morning. Good. It's going to be the best day ever, no matter what. You can't let the little things get you down, or you'll be down all the time.
Hey, the devil's fighting us. We're going to win.
Maybe it's because they know we're going to talk about BLM.
No, we got a lot more to talk about than that. And before we get started, you guys, I want to wish everybody a wonderful, happy Memorial Day. I want to give a thanks to all you guys that are in the comments, or anybody that you guys know that have served. We're here today because of their sacrifice, their service. So happy Memorial Day. And by the way, hey, on a good note, here's a little interesting tidbit. We met 18 years ago this weekend.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Wow,
18 years we've been together. Yep.
That's a long time.
I know.
I'll be quiet.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. Speaking of which, one more thing before we go on for the military, and let's get into it really quick because we have so much to cover, you guys. It's going to blow your heads out of the water. Speaking of the military really quick, because we've been talking to you guys, and we've been saying, hey, thanks for your service and all that. We've had so many people call in lately and say they either know family members, friends of family members that are supposedly getting orders, don't know where they're going. Article came out, and supposedly a lot of our military is going to Peru, and they're not really sure why. And they said the U.S. and the Peru does not even know that we're coming, except for, I guess, some of the main. Christmas forgot some of his notes. But
I'm getting the coffee.
Oh, he's getting the coffee. Yeah, we're hanging in there this morning. But yeah, so apparently unknown, it said to most people in Peru and the U.S., they said apparently because the media coverage has not been covered in both countries, U.S. military personnel will soon be landing in Peru. They're going to be there from June the 1st to December the 31st, 2023. And they've officially disclosed it now. And we're going to be doing training operations. I think there's going to be around 700 military people. So maybe that's where some of these guys are going that we've been told that they're getting orders and stuff. But wherever you guys are going, if you have military family, we will be saying prayers that you guys for your safety. And thank you guys again for all your service that you guys have done for us. Well, while we're waiting on Chris, I guess let's go on to, I'll just hit real quick while I'm waiting on him for some financial stuff real quick. JP Morgan. We've talked about this. This is regarding gold and silver sales. If you guys have noticed in the news lately and seen anything, gold and silver prices over the last couple of weeks have just went like this. I have, matter of fact, to some of you guys calling me going, what the heck? Well, JP Morgan came out and they shorted precious metals. And after that, you guys, the prices went down crazy. Johnny Bravo even did a story on that showing the chart because he said if it went up to a certain price, my fly is back to say hello again. But if it went up to a certain price, like JP Morgan would literally be underwater. Well, guess what they started doing? They started shorting it and they started suppressing it. Prices started coming down. Well, interestingly enough, 2 days ago, they just came out and now they are, quote, they are saying JP Morgan is advising cutting exposure to risk on assets and holding more cash and gold, citing the U.S. debt, ceiling risk, recession outlook, and hawkish Federal Reserve stance. So they're coming out and they're actively saying, you guys, get rid of your own your risk assets and hold more cash and gold, where they were just shorting it the other day. And they took over, you guys know, First Republic. I'm sorry, you stepped away, so I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there. You know, they took over First Republic. Very interesting enough, First Republic, before JP Morgan took them over, you guys, they were paying their employees, some of their top executives, over $10 million. Their annual salary. That's more than I think Jamie Dimon even makes. They were talking about it. And one more thing for the banking, and then we'll move on to other stuff. But JP Morgan has also come out and said these clients that were with the First Republic, if you guys had lines of credit, which if you guys know, sometimes those aren't easy to get, they are saying, nope, sorry.
We've been trying to get one forever.
Well, we just had some misunderstandings. But they have come out and said, nope, we are no longer going to offer them, and we are not going to renew them to these companies or to these clients that had them with First Republic. Because apparently JP Morgan is not really big into doing lines of credit, so they are denying them. Anyway, there's some financial news, and now let's keep going.
Okay, so this morning we're drinking Hoosier Warrior coffee. This is the motivation. This is our favorite so far.
Yes, it is.
The link will be in the description. They're doing a side hustle. They're community members that have started a side hustle selling coffee, and it's really good coffee. So check them out. It'll be in the description. Well, I'll put it in here too in a minute.
Yeah, and we're not just saying that. I actually really like that coffee.
And
there was another one too. What was the other one we really liked? And I forget. It was motivational.
Jet Fuel and Motivation
really
are not. Well, they're not flavored.
No, they're not flavored. No, and there's some that are flavored, but we're just
not flavored coffee people. The flavored ones are good, but it's not our favorite. But I got to give a shout out to Virginia's only organic maple syrup. They sent this to me in the mail. I'm not affiliated with them, but I thought it was really cool. It comes with a track.
I love that.
And it kind of walks you through solving the God puzzle. And they even sent a note from their little girl. And it says, "Thank you, Isabella and Gabriel."
Little boy too.
And I guess that's their family in the little house. So
I thought that
thank you. Check them out. Mill Gap Farms. So it's exquisite syrup. Very good. So
what was the flavor they had? There was a flavored
one.
they've
got coffee flavor. They've got smoked syrup. They've got it's just gourmet maple syrup. And I like the real thin stuff. It seems to have a lot of flavor and not a lot of the goopy calories that you get from just shelf syrup. So, which word do you want to start first?
Man, I don't know. There's so much to
I have
cover.
somebody just said they're not allowing you to share my video. That is nutty. They're not allowing you to share the Walmart video. What platform are you talking about? Oh, Witcher Works wants me to answer. Yeah, I went back and I couldn't find that comment.
It's important because you would believe in
the scriptures are true. The way they are taught is wrong.
I don't know. Is that the one that you were saying he didn't believe in the rapture? Someone
No. She's talking about Jesus. She says Jesus is a liar, or something like that. Get in the comments. Tell me. That'd be a good question for these comments.
Hit that down arrow so we can stay up with the comments. All right, what do you want to go to next? Let's go for it.
And let me know which. Hey, y'all chill out. Okay. Black Lives Matter. They have bamboozled the other side like it is unbelievable. It is a complete scam. There's so many scams in the Thunderdome. And this is proof. Now, I'm sure the other side would do the crawfish, the little spin thing they do and start screaming and hollering where you can't even get a word in if you were to approach them with this. But listen to this craziness that happened to the BLM, the Big Black Lives Matter, that we have been watching for the last few years. And now they're bankrupt. We'll get into why. BLM finished its last fiscal year nearly $9 million in the red. Even as the world's premier race grifting organization continued shelling out millions to execs and relatives, founder Patriots
I guess that's how you say that, yeah.
According to the new tax documents that came out last week, BLM's foundation spent double what it took in, $17 million in outlays against just $8.5 million in gross revenue. The group took in a whopping $77 million in contributions and grants. Now, how is this money treated? That means it spent 2/3 of $90 million it raised. BLM spent $11 million on program service expenses, $5.1 million on management general expenses, $481,000 on fundraising. Co-founders Color quit the group in May of 21 after the New York Post revealed wild spending by the group and Colors herself. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and all the Black Lives Matter people ought to be protesting in the yard. They should burn their houses down for this. This is unbelievable. BLM paid $970,000 to a company owned by the father of Colors' child. It's weird. To produce live events. Okay, so Dad got $970,000. Her brother, Paul Colors, was paid $840,000 to provide
in the family.
Yeah, to provide security services. Colors spent $3.2 million to buy 4 high-end homes, including $1.4 million house near Malibu and a custom ranch in Georgia with an airplane hangar and a runway. BLM bought $5.6 million mansion in Los Angeles, which Colors claimed as an investment that it would also serve as a media creation place and even a safe house for activists. She hosted Biden's inauguration party there. Wow. The group and its affiliates bought 1.7 million luxury condo in the Bahamas and $6 million in a Toronto mansion. Company owned by Calora's successor was paid $1.69 million over 2 years management and consulting fees. It goes on and on and on.
Yep.
And later on, this is what really kind of bit me. She referred to the giant influx of money following George Floyd's killing by Minneapolis police. Calora's marveled, and this is a quote from her, that was a lot of white guilt money. There's a lot of white folks being like, we just got to put the money. I don't know what that means. We just got to put the money.
I don't know. I saw that. I don't know
white guilt funded the BLM's mansions and it ripped everybody off. So this is
That's just
par
sad.
for the course.
It's just sad because a lot of nonprofits go that way, and there's so many of them that we can name. You look at the Clintons Foundation. Look what they did in Sri Lanka. I mean, they took so much money in, and nothing is still being done over there. And they're actually bankrupt right now, or they filed default. It's just sad that when you take a nonprofit like that, I mean, you even look at some of the Biden and all that kind of stuff, and what they're in. It's just there's so much scandal out there.
Do you want to go on with Milwaukee's?
Sure.
Master lock plant closure.
Yeah, go for it.
So Milwaukee had a huge master lock plant, and the headquarters was in Oak Creek, and they just shut the doors. And the mayor's calling it a slap in his face. You know, this decision is not. They say the decision is not to reflect the skills or performance of anybody. Rather, it is an opportunity to continue to enhance the supply chain resilience, maximize potential growth, and the business to maintain competitiveness in the future. It's probably due to the place is falling apart. You know, I don't know that for sure, but there's more jobs gone. That's the bottom line.
There's a lot of that happening. There's a lot of jobs that are being slashed. And if you guys look what's going on in the economy,
And that was
right
Dan
now,
Bob. Thank you, Dan Bob.
Yep.
I think you're in here.
There's a lot of jobs being slashed. So let's go on, because we're talking about jobs and all that kind of stuff. Then I want to hit on, because let's talk about, because I kind of follow a lot of the financing and stuff, what's going on. Talking about there's jobs, you guys, being slashed right now. We all look at that. If you look at that, there's lays off after layoff. Every time you turn around, you've got businesses going under. We've talked about bankruptcies that have gone up. Commercial lending. I'm going to hit on this one more time again. They've just come out and said, we are starting to see, quote, the coming crash of office properties. There are almost $2 trillion of mortgage debt of offices on both sides of the Atlantic. Real estate prices in New York are down 30 to 50%, but deals are not trading yet because of the valuation differences. And so I was going back and looking at how they've been propping it up. You know, they've been redoing these loans and stuff. But this is what Chris and I talked about. Dead on what we're thinking. When we think about the maturities of the debt and when it will cause problems, we're 6 to 12 months from really seeing that's going to really bite us. And that's what you and I have been saying. Give it 6 to 12 months. It's a trickle-down effect. And here's the problem with that, you guys. Once you're already seeing all these defaults, you're already seeing all these bankruptcies, these companies going out of business, these zombie companies, a lot of them. You just look at what happened with a couple banks that went down. They loaned all their buddies money before the banks collapsed or whatever. We're dealing with that. They said major office landlords are defaulting on loans, and in some cases, they're just handing over the keys, and they're just saying, hey, here, take it. And these are mainly from these direct lenders, and these direct lenders are literally just taking them back. And I'm curious to see how that's going to affect the market. And if you look at the history of it, and I'll put the link in the description. It's a Bloomberg article. You can see the chart starting in 2014. Direct lending was way down. If you look at 2022, it's way up. And we did that with Citizens. We did a direct lending. We didn't get a mortgage broker. They didn't sell our loan out. It was an in-house. It was direct lending. So if something would have happened and we would have defaulted because we had one of those loans,
Yep.
Then they would have come and taken the keys and said, here, you know, if you default.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate, you guys, and you can find it, but you have to dig really hard. And it was thanks to him. He's the one that said, I know we can find it. And let me tell you, it took some legwork when it came to finding an investment loan. I don't even know if you can get them now because credit, it's getting so tightened. But we actually did get a 15-year fixed loan on our rental properties before we sold them. And that was thanks to you. You actually did that. Seeing some questions? seeing some. One more thing I want to hit
I'm
on
seeing
properties.
a lot of it. I got to address something real quick.
Just okay.
Witcher Works. She hasn't been disrespectful. Leave her comments. Put what you mean. Put what you're talking about. You're asked, please drop the subject here. I have a Discord link.
Hey, you guys, we don't mind discussion
No,
in these
wanna
things. We
encourage
do
it.
not mind them
I mean,
at
if
all.
she thinks
As long as you're respectful, I
was not
love
asked to
hearing
do
other
such
people's
a thing.
decision.
Stay in my lane is an order. Okay.
Who wants Stacey to swat that fly on Chris? Let me just tell you, he almost did that the other day to me.
Are you a witch? Witcher Works, are you a witch? Why? And why do you think Jesus is a liar? Put it in the comments. Let's go.
All right.
Anyway, let's keep going. I want to make these. I want to get the news out, but we'll address this.
Sure, I'm in for it. Speaking of real estate and all that, and if you guys tell me what you're seeing in your neighborhood, because this is what I'm seeing personally in mine. As we've discussed, ours is a linear market. By the way, also on a side note, real quick, you guys have asked us about investment properties and how we did it. We need to do a video on that because people are asking me daily of how we did it with zero down. But speaking of all that, I am seeing personally in our area, I'm seeing more and more signs pop up, and I'm seeing houses stay on the market. Seems like just a little bit longer. I'm seeing more signs in our area, even when usually they were like, boom, they were gone in like 2 or 3 days. On top of that, there is a glut of inventory that is hitting Hamptons as rent. This is rentals.
Oh.
They are saying because the private jet demand in the U.S. is sliding, summer rentals in the Hamptons are dropping. They're saying that it's gone way down. It's just interesting. They said it is down from, so say for night. This is a night, you guys. I can't imagine spending this a night, but this is what they pay. Last year, they were paying $1,080 a night. And I guess that was pretty average for a night in Hamptons. It's down to $970 now. They're saying many properties are available to rent. There's better deals. Landlords are more open to shorter stays because usually you have to have a minimum of like 3 nights, 4 nights. They're saying it's a glut of rental inventory. And I'll do the link on this also. This is an article, gives stats. It shows how from year to year, for 2022 now to 2023, the rental property prices are definitely down in this because this is a luxury. And so people are saying no to this luxury and they're going with the necessities.
High-end houses are getting hammered. This puts me in mind of the, what do they call them? Residential assisted living for the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to pursue that in the future. And as we get further into the Thunderdome and these high-end real estate properties go down in value, hopefully some of them are on a lake. And that's where I want to invest for our elderly's future. Give them a decent place to retire. Because if you know my story about a guy that an older fella that was in my life as a young kid, and how we ended up as in a government assisted living, or what do you call them? It was just a government nursing home. It was the most awful, rancid place. It was like a small corner at a Denny's, an old Denny's. I mean, it was nasty. So that's my plan for the elderly and my friends and family. So think about that. As we get into Thunderdome, let's try to take advantage of these opportunities on these massive McMansions, because you can go in and renovate them, and you can have your parent or whoever retire in style at a place they don't mind being. That's my plan. So think about it. We've got a massive super chat. The Shielded Prepper's here. Hang on just a second.
Well, that's from another currency.
Oh.
You did that last time.
I did.
Thank you.
SEC. What? SEK. What is?
I don't know the conversion rate on
South.
that. Thank you, whatever it is, though. I
Doesn't
really
matter.
do appreciate it.
Thanks,
And by the way,
Frederick.
the person that won the coin from the last giveaway, they're from Australia. So I'm going to the post office and I'm going to do my best to see if I can get that coin to you if it doesn't cost a whole lot. Thanks, Shielded Prepper.
The Shielded Prepper.
Seeing the same thing here in Western Washington. Yeah, I think a lot more people are starting to see that. It's just that some of these, well, I'm going to be honest, some of these real estate agents don't want to admit it. And I get it because that's their bread and butter.
Guys, if you haven't checked out the Shielded Prepper or the Side Hustle Survivalist, Bud, they're both in these comments. And I want you to check them out. They're good guys. They're doing their best to do the right thing and to educate people and try to, all of it, try to help people make money as a side hustle, how to invest the money, how to approach things and problems, kind of like we do, a lot of what Ninja Nation does. is that. So check them out. I think you'd be doing well. Thank you for the super chat.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to meeting
Jesse.
you guys one day. Yeah, all some of you guys.
Yeah.
All right, you got a next
we're
one.
We're going to go hunting somewhere.
I'm going to move on to the next one. You got the next one, or you want to go?
Yes, I can go to the next one. I got a big scam later. It's the climate scam. We're going to cover the climate scam.
Let's get into that now, actually.
Well, it'll mess me up on my papers.
Oh, okay. Keep
First, let's talk about the Children's Hospital that will stop offering hormone therapy and other transgender care, you bigots in Texas. Texas Children's CEO Mark Wallace told employees that the hospital will cease providing some transgender care services within the next few months, according to an email sent in May 24 and obtained by the news outlets. The hospital is one of two, here's what happened, Texas facilities of an attorney general investigation based on allegations of providers unlawful performing gender transition procedures. This is going on in Texas?
Oh, that's sad.
Hospital will continue to offer psychological support and any form of care we can within the bounds of the law. The Children's Hospital spokesperson said the hospital so far is not canceling any appointments related to transgender care. Now, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, said it intended to investigate whether the children's care facility was doing illegal transgender care. I'm not even sure what that means, and I hate to even speculate on it. His hospital secretly provided such care, supposedly, allegedly. So they were providing some type of strange transgender care for little kids secretly. However, I want to assure all of you, this is from the chief chair, I want to assure all of you that through this period and after, we will all remain dedicated to educating and amplifying the importance of self-quality transgender medicine programs. So that's going on in Texas, and I can't believe it. So
it's just crazy. I read an article, and I should have brought it out here because it's sitting inside right now, of a nurse who actually worked for a very prominent hospital, and over the last couple of years have seen this stuff come down the pipe. Even where doctors were wearing certain kind of pins, they were promoting certain kind of things they were not allowed to tell parents. And she actually quit and came on record and said some things. And I printed her article out, and I should have brought it out here and given some more information on that. But you guys, Chris and I have talked about this. You don't even know who you are until you're probably 30 years old. I mean, we didn't even know.
You don't have a full deck of cards until you're after 30 usually. Some people get it sooner, but not very many.
No. So, and the fact that this is happening just right down the street from us.
It's demonic. It goes back to this. This is an old story, but this is what they're saying. Satan loves you and respects you. LGBTQA plus people are so often referred to as being a product of Satan or against God. But, Satan loves you and respects who you are. You're important and valuable, and he is the father of all lies. It's the same thing that's going on here. It's a cancer that came from California, I imagine.
Well, it came from the devil, Satan. That is for certain. Somebody just said that currency is Sweden. So you're here from Sweden. Thank you for watching from Sweden. Somebody, Teresa, I think, just said if you guys take a hunting trip, us girls need to take a beach trip. I could go with that. You guys want to go hunting?
Yeah, we're going hunting for sure.
Well, something I want to hit on real quick then
right
before you go to your next one. Yeah. So the U.S. Department warned on Thursday, and you guys, this was just like 2 days ago, that China has capabilities of launching cyber attacks against critical infrastructures. And you guys, if you guys just watched Schwab not too long ago, he just came out in the World Economic Forum, which I want to touch on that a little bit because they got something down their up their sleeve that they're coming up with. But he just said that you guys, that a multi-nation alert issued Wednesday revealed the Chinese cyber espionage campaign has been aimed at military and government targets in the United States. Also, they're saying that it could be gas pipelines, including oil, our energy system, rail systems. You guys, if they've come out and said this, it's already happened. And guess what? It has. It already has. It's already happened right now in Guam. Guam. It's apparently already hit their infrastructure. It's hit our military bases in there. So you guys just pay attention to this. If you guys notice funny things that are going on with your internet, just protect yourself because they're saying it's going to happen. When they come out and make this kind of statement, because I used to work for the government, I know by the time they came out and they made these kind of announcements, that meant that it had already happened. So it's just a matter of how bad it happened and what the effects are. And down the road, we'll see what's going to happen. So heads up on that one, you guys.
Yeah, watch it. And Wisher Works, reach out to me at financialfitness318@gmail.com. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's end that conversation.
I don't know what's going on. I can't pay attention to all of them. So just email me and we'll talk about it.
Sounds great. Yep. All right, let's move on.
Okay. The biggest scam of all.
Yep.
Oh my guys.
Yep.
The corruption of climate science.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of fighting anti-civilization lunacy, which is going on rampant everywhere, corporations are taking their money off the table along with their life-affirming fuels. As we transition over to this green weenie ESGism, where the globalists and all the elite try to save the resources for themselves because us rubes are not worthy of using these things. When we get down into the facts of the science, it does not add up. You can't even go on CNN or whatever outlet there is and be a climate denier. You can't say, hey, wait a minute, we had a big drought 1,200 years ago. What happened then? Were too many people burning fossil fuels? You can't say that. You are not allowed to have that conversation.
You're not allowed to question anything.
No,
it seems like. Yep.
And this is
well, he just said for over.
His name is Epstein. What's his full name?
Alex Epstein, and he's the founder of the Center for Industrial Progress, and he's the author of Fossil Futures. But he said for over the 15 years, we have increasingly corrupt career scientists who have produced biased studies. That they have an agenda, and it states it over and over. If you go down, and he actually quoted it, he said, "Oh, this sounded so good in this study," but in this little paragraph, he said, "Oh, here it is. The true intent becomes obvious." That they are saying it's going to be the responsibility of these certain companies that they claim that are more climate destroying than others. And they want them to pay prices. Basically, they want them to pay. They want money for their agenda.
We can't keep treating these designated experts as real experts.
Mm-hmm.
These, and I heard somebody Terry shared Chamath, the little Indian-looking guy, super smart, very wealthy guy. He was like, "We're listening to people that are educated and dumb. I like to call them educated dumbasses. That's a little off color, but being in the oil field, that's what we had to put up with, and that's what it is. You get so open-minded and so intelligent, your brains fall out, and nothing makes sense when you speak. So it is no exaggeration that every institution in America is now committed itself to the elimination of affordable and abundant energy. I completely agree. The commitment motivated by misguided concern for the planet, but also by lust for power and money. That's what it's about.
It is. It's money.
And enabled by moral cowardice and intellectual negligence will destroy Western civilization. Everything runs on oil, diesel, gas. I mean, this is the world we live in. There is no replacing it. With windmills are a joke. I don't like them. They're ugly, and the numbers don't work.
No, they don't. They don't add up.
So we've got corrupted career scientists that have produced biased studies, amplified by agenda-driven corporate and political special interest groups that are beyond debate. The climate crisis. There's just no debating that. If you don't believe it wholeheartedly, then you're just, you're an idiot. These are the same people that think the earth was created from nothing. Nothing blew up into everything. I've blown up a lot of stuff in my life, and nothing has ever been created. Okay. It is massive destruction when something blows up. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
You have blown up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's a scam. The most audacious, all-encompassing fraud in human history. I agree 100%. I like this guy. It targets and crushes the middle class, 100% correct, in developing nations and the entire inspiring populations in developing nations. Now, he gets into the energy and is the foundation of everything.
It is.
Prosperity, freedom, upward
Yes.
mobility, national wealth. Without energy, you don't have much.
Yep. That's exactly right. And to be honest with you, without energy, we don't have AI. So let's see how that AI, yeah, I said that right. So let's see how that goes. Keep going.
So a new study released May 16, authored by 7 ridiculous credentialed experts affiliated with leftist union concerned scientists. They're saying the study just shows the political and legal context in which this study was designed to play a useful part. There's no logic involved at all. It's changing. We got to do something. In plain English, the authors claim that hot summers in recent years have caused more severe forest fires in the western states, and fossil fuels emissions are causing the hottest summers. That's it. That's where the information stops. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Even in modern history, the hottest temperature ever recorded in California was in 2013, when it hit 134 degrees in Death Valley. During the 1930s, a decade when hot temperatures rivaled, if not exceeded, those we experience today, and the coldest temperatures, even measured in California, negative 45, was recorded in Nevada. But, they breathlessly report drought lately. You notice that? Even though it's over, it's the worst in 1,200 years. Well, doesn't that, as soon as you read that, this is the worst drought we've had in 1,200 years. Well, what happened 1,200 years ago to start that drought?
We didn't have
that
fossil
lasted
fuels.
centuries.
Yep.
It's like that. I don't understand. Common sense goes out the window. What about the even bigger drought 1,200 years ago? The same newspaper reported past dry period lasted more than 200 years. What about these multi-century droughts? What about the prehistoric? What happened to the redwood trees? Fossil fuels, the fossil records say they're 200 million years old, which is false. They went out, a lot of it got destroyed when the flood happened, during Noah's flood, God flooded the earth, period, end of story. That's what happened. But that's it. I wanted to rant about that for a minute. Because,
it's true.
Well, fossil fuel companies and cement manufacturers could be to blame for more than a third of the world's forest fires. Get a grip, man. This is bogus. There's nothing. They're using it for control. Every time I hear of some type of climate, it's for the climate. It's a red flag, means it's for total control. It should say it's for eugenics.
It is. It's for control. I know.
Complete control. And for everything, all the climate poppycock. Yeah, that's all.
Well, I'm sure there's some things that we can always do better and we always learn. But generally speaking, whenever you hear that word climate, it relates back to money and power. And that's what it does. And speaking of that, let's talk about the 2 things about power and stuff like that, where it has to do. You want to do some of the. Oh, by the way, Teresa said she has a website company. I just saw that. And she said, yes. She goes, she has noticed more attacks also. And I'm hearing that also from other different companies that have called in and said, yes, that they're noticing more attacks. So you can do the best that you can. Hopefully you can protect yourself to the best of your ability. But anyway, that's the reason why when you guys call in, my number back there, if you want to order precious metals, I ask you, please don't send stuff over the internet. Please don't send your routing number and your account number. Please don't send a copy of your check. Give that to me over the phone. I write it down. I put it on a piece of paper. I put it into our system, and then I burn that piece of paper. You can ask Chris because he comes in the house every now and then. He goes, "What is that stink?" And I'm burning paper.
Yeah, she just sticks a burning paper and it doesn't work good. It just smokes up the house. Like, take it outside and burn it. What's wrong with you?
I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, but I want to go on real quick. So Biden's new executive order, which we've discussed about, talking about power again. Here we go with some more power. Biden's new executive order gives federal agencies a scorecard to prioritize environmental justice. And you guys, we've talked about this. It's been coming down the pipe. Well, he's officially signed it, as we all know. And it is going to prioritize environmental justice. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit across federal agencies and be subjected to an environmental scorecard. And I'm trying harder to speak slow. So let me know if I'm doing good. Give me a thumbs up. because somebody said I could be an auctioneer. I think in one of the comments, and I was laughing. I can rattle stuff off fast. The order is accompanied by the establishment of a White House Office of Environmental Justice. It's headed by a federal chief environmental justice officer. So once again, we're creating a new little program, and this program is going to be, and it states right here, and actually I highlighted it. The executive order directs agencies to identify and address gaps in science, data, and research related to environmental justice, to advance the analysis of cumulative impacts, and to make information on environmental and health concerns more publicly accessible. And they're calling it the Justice 40. And they're saying 40% of all resources of certain federal investments must flow to disadvantaged communities. They are going to be lower income people, minorities. They're not going to be subject to environmental harms. Once again, they're doing this all. It sounds really, really good. But now every time you go get a loan, every time you go to do something, every business you have, everything you're going to touch, it is going to be prioritized if it is environmentally justice sounding. You're going to have it's ESG.
This looks like communism. They're talking about Justice 40.
Yes, that's what they're calling it. It's the
which
new
says
Justice 40.
40% of all resources
are going to go to flow
of certain federal investments must flow to the disadvantages, the disadvantaged community. So, it's a way to
distribute wealth.
It's
So on another thing,
on something we absolutely have to have.
Yep, it is. So one more thing I want to go on, just one more thing we'll talk about, and I know you got some more stuff too, and we're trying to go to it as fast as we can. This just came out, you guys. We've been talking about this. The World Economic Forum has been trying so hard to push this pandemic treaty down like 100, it's 149, 194.
I did a video as soon as it came out.
We did a video about this. Well, they kicked the can down the road. This has been a couple months ago. They said, we're going to take the paperwork back. We're going to review it again. We're going to make some changes. Well, once again, they've brought this up, and I think it's in the next week or two that we are getting ready to vote on it. And speaking of which, the Swiss what did I call them? The Swiss, let me pull it up right here real quick. They actually are in front of the World Health Organization right now, and they're protesting. They're called the Swiss Freedom Clock Ringers. They have arrived outside, and this was 4 hours ago. They've arrived outside the World Health Organization to protest this pandemic treaty. Because if they pass this pandemic treaty, and you guys go to their website, World Economic Forum.
You can just go to my Twitter.
It's there. It's there. It says it's going to deal with pandemics that are underway, because they've already said we're going to have a cyber pandemic, and we're going to have the next pandemic that's going to come out. They've already said we're having the next one. And it's going to be worse than the woohoo bat flu. It's going to be a target date. They want this treaty underway and everyone signed by 194 countries by May 2024 is what they're saying. This new pact is a priority for this Chief Tedros that we've talked about, who, said it was a world, and then he just came out the other day and said, COVID-19 is over. He said, we're going to call it a generational commitment, and that we will not go back to the old cycle of panic and neglect. And we already have a temperate kind of a treaty. I think it was back in 2005. It's the International Health Regulations or something like that. You guys can go back and look. But this is the treaty that I've been saying that I cannot specifically state what it's going to require. They're going to, what did I say? They're going to say you still can be sovereign in your own country, but they're going to recommend, they're going to give ideas, they're going to give of what they recommend that you do whenever they declare. And they can come out and declare a global pandemic. And if they do, then they want you to follow what they're going to recommend. They're still going to let you remain sovereign, supposedly. But this is happening. This is on their website as of 2 days ago. An updated
The World
version.
Death Organization is going to decide how we take care of our health. That ought to scare the heck out of everybody. It's nutty. Now.
All right, you go to the next one. I know we've got more stuff that you can.
This ought to be on every news outlet there is. It involves our currency. And Russia's top diplomat has made some outrageous quotes. This is going to happen. He's been in office for several decades. And he says, number one, I got him labeled here. Sergey Lavrov. Sergey Lavrov.
I'm not good at pronouncing.
All right, especially Russian. says de-dollarization is already underway due to the U.S. government's rhetoric and policies. Number 2, LaVar says the economic coalition of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are actively plotting a path forward without the U.S. dollar. The BRICS gathering is in August. You're going to hear that a lot. It's in August. It's this summer.
It is.
The Fed Now coin rolls out in July. You know, it's all coming together.
So because you got the Fed coming out in July, you've got the BRICS meeting in August, and you got the Southeastern Asian nations meeting in September. You guys, it's all lining up. And those two that are meeting in August and September, their main agenda is go around the dollar. All right.
Well, the meeting in August will focus on how the alliance's new development bank can defend itself from potential U.S. hostility. De-dollarization has begun both in practice and in conceptual speeches. Within the BRICS, Brazil suggested that the upcoming summit in August should give careful consideration to the task of protecting financial transactions within this assembly, of protecting the new development bank. Remember that. I don't know much about it. I will. I just went through this information this morning. So the new development bank is something to watch. From abuse of the dollar's persistent role. Now, I skipped down a bit. I'm paraphrasing so I can get to the article.
Right.
The U.S. has purposely sowed instability in other countries and around the world to get what it wants. And it has. Mm-hmm. There's no way around that. The U.S. dollar with the U.S. dollar being at the crux of the strategy.
Yep.
However, Lavrov says the tactic is running on borrowed time. Mm-hmm. And then he says, I'm not exaggerating.
You guys,
let me repeat.
It. Sorry.
Let me repeat. Western countries know well how to play on the difficulties themselves create in other countries. And they will probably have a certain result, a certain benefit in the short term. The dollar might get stronger. They're saying, they're going to benefit from this in the short term. But in the long term, they, and the first and foremost, the Americans, when he talks about they, he's talking about not only Americans, but first and foremost, America, are hewing down the bough on which they are sitting, including the roles of International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the role of the dollar in the world's economy. So it's just a matter of time, guys. We're right here at the end of the world reserve currency. We're actually, on average, fiat currencies last around 50 years. We're on year 53. It's par for the course. Everything's right in line with the way it's supposed to be going. So, and the other nations are getting tired. They're getting sick of it. They're getting beat up by it. We're weaponizing the dollar that's worn out. It's being printed into oblivion. And if they do what they're wanting to do with the
World Health Organization,
no, the 14th
14th Amendment.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really going to be wild.
That's going to really.
If you can print money without raising the debt ceiling, that's like we're talking hyperinflation situation. Yep. So what do you got next?
I know. We'll just keep on bringing you good news after good news. So you guys, we brought an article up the other day about China was filing a lawsuit in Florida. And there were some comments afterwards were these Chinese citizens, were they Chinese citizens from China or Chinese citizens from America? I cannot prove if they're one way or the other. The article and all I can find on the research, it just stated Chinese citizens. So I don't know on that. But speaking of China, and we were talking about how they're over here trying to buy up our land and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, they were getting ready to open up a new plant in Tennessee. And guess what? They were getting $200 million energy grant from the U.S. Energy Department, from our own government. This company that gets 70% of its revenue from China. Well, thank God somebody finally did a little bit of research, and it was $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law. Remember that was passed in 2021. That's how they were getting it. Someone actually, though, did some research, and they found out that this new plant that was in Tennessee gets their 70% of its revenue from China, with only 3% in the United States. And they admitted, this company did, and I can't find the name of the company. I think it was R&D, but I'm not positive. But anyway, it says that they admitted Beijing, quote, exerts substantial influence over its operation and may intervene at any time and with no notice. So thank goodness the Energy Department is actually pulling the plug on this $2 million energy grant.
$200 million.
So, yeah, I mean, $200 million grant. So thank goodness somebody actually paid attention, did some research, and said, okay, something's not adding up here. Then we want to go on a little further, or you want to?
No, keep going.
All right. So I want to talk just a little bit about, we mentioned this here previously about once again, we talk about lithium and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of lithium, I don't know if we mentioned this story real quick, but I'm trying to find out the company. I know it's a Shell company, but Exxon actually is joining in the hunt for lithium. And I want to talk about right now what's going on with batteries. And
so are
gas.
the car manufacturers. Lithium's a big thing right now.
It's a huge thing. And actually just right down the road from us, like 2 hours down the road. And I'm trying to find out it's through Exxon, but I don't know the actual company. They just leased 120,000 acres, and they're going to be actually joining the hunt for lithium to help key ingredient for batteries. So you guys, this is just right here.
Close to where I grew up in Smackover, Arkansas.
Yeah,
you guys believe
I'm
that?
Curious to see. And car companies are actually getting into it. With Tesla's also come out and said stuff like that. But we've mentioned in the past about New York. We did a story a little bit about it. They were the first state in the country to ban natural gas and other fossil fuels and stuff like that. And there's been a backlash in that. Well, Germany now has also come out and said that they're going to ban oil and gas boilers, and they are saying that they want to become net zero by 2045. They are announcing they would ban boilers, working with fossil fuels, effectively forcing people to switch to heat pumps. It's going to cost about 9 billion euros. That means 10 billion annually until 2028 that it's going to cost these people. He said they are furious and outraged. And I just don't get it. It's like they're costing us more money every time they put something like this into play. So it's just one more little thing that you guys just pay attention to. New York is making a big deal of this. They are approving a $229 billion state budget that's going to contain that provision. So we'll see how that comes down the pipe in New York. They're saying, I guess, some of the existing buildings that they're not going to, but if it's anything new, 7 stories and below, it has to be all electric. Now you tell me how that's going to affect the electric grid. They want electric vehicles, everything electric in all these buildings, but the electric grid cannot even support what we actually have. I mean, they have to have rolling blackouts.
It's amazing. It's like trying to control a little kid that's having a temper tantrum. They're stomping their feet and they're just going berserk. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter what you want. We can't do that. You know, we can't just stop using fossil fuels. It just doesn't. They're not even fossil fuels, but you know, we can't stop what makes the world go round. Sorry. You know, you can. We're not set up for it. It doesn't work. Side hustle survivalist wants to give away a silver buffalo.
Oh,
so that's exciting. Awesome. We're gonna give one away on Bud's dime.
Okay, can I pick the hashtag?
Yep, pick the hashtag.
Do it because if you were in the front of the video this weekend, 18 years ago, he and I met. We've been together since. So do hashtag 18 years.
Okay.
I know
that's cheesy.
It is.
It's extremely cheesy.
It is.
But hashtag cheese.
Hey, don't make fun.
No, I'm joking. Hashtag 18 years. That's fine.
18 years. Hashtag 18
to win a
years.
silver buffalo on Bud.
Yeah, and on a funny note, also, you know, our little pup apparently left a little present for Chris sitting right over there. Apparently, you guys have named our doggy called the Shop Dropper.
Shop Dropper. That's it. That's the truth. Every crap pain she ever gets hits her when she runs into my shop. She comes in the shop for 2 seconds. She's going to take a poop. I don't care if she just took one.
She does. She actually took a poop in his shoe one day. That was how bad it was. But
hashtag 18. We got them coming in, Bud.
I think that's about all. Let's see. Let me double check gold and silver prices before we go real quick.
That's a good idea.
We have the special, as you guys know, the Italian barb. It's a 10-ounce Italian barb. It's $3.49 over, which is a really good if you like 10-ounce bars. Some people don't. I also have a 5-ounce bar.
You can put it in as many times as you want to.
Yeah. I also have a 5-ounce bar, which is really hard to find in silver. But still the best bang for the buck. If you just want the 1 ounces, is the Buffaloes. They're still $4.25 over until tomorrow. You know, I don't know if the Comex is going to open on Monday since it is a holiday. I'm assuming it is, but I don't know for a fact. But right now, my silver is $23.49. The gold is $1,950. So if you guys are interested, I will be working for a few hours today. Give me a call, 318-564-5823. I will be off tomorrow, and I will be working Monday, but it might be a little bit limited depending on what we have going on. And, one more news while this is all going on. State Farm, if you guys live in California, heads up, State Farm is ceasing new applications for State Farm offices. Now, across the United States, besides State Farm, I think you're okay. But it is quote, it is saying it is no longer accepting new applications for property insurance and other policies in California, citing historic increases in construction costs and inflation, the company said.
Wow.
Beginnings. Thank you. Actually, someone sent that to me. Thank you. I forget who it was. Beginning Saturday, which today, the Illinois-based insurance company will cease to accept applications for businesses and personal lines property, casualty insurance. It does not impact, though, personal vehicles. State Farm, this is a quote, State Farm General Insurance Company made this decision due to historic increases in construction costs outpacing inflation, rapidly growing catastrophic. See, I can read all day long.
Catastrophe
exposure, and a challenging reinsurance market. The company said in a release, the Department of Insurance is focused on the safety of homes and communities. So if you guys are in California and you do have a State Farm policy, you might want to check up on it to make sure that you're actually still insured, because God forbid something ever to happen and your insurance was canceled and you didn't even know it.
I was wondering about that. As inflation was coming, I was wondering what the insurance companies were going to do. And it looks like they're just going to quit taking clients. They're just going to say, sorry.
Yeah.
Inflation's too high. We can't fix. Can you imagine getting in a car wreck right now and having to replace, how many things are they having to total because it costs too much to fix small repairs, or can they even get the parts? That's another thing.
Well, think about it too. If you didn't realize that your stuff was to come renewed, and sometimes you don't pay attention. I don't always pay attention when because I pay mine yearly. And if that year were to pass or that 6 months were to pass, and you didn't realize that it had come up for renewal, and they didn't renew it because they're not accepting anymore, you would have insurance. So you guys check. If you're in State Farm in California, I'd be calling to make sure my policy was still in effect. All right, you want to pick something?
That's some good. Yep. All right.
I think we've given you guys enough today.
Yeah, that's a lot of information, and none of it was any good. Aside from the coffee and the syrup. That was all good. And Bud's giveaway here.
Thanks, Bud.
All right, I'm going to scroll around and you can pick.
Okay.
Just tell me when I'm at the top.
All right, keep going.
Let me find the top. All right, there's the top.
All right, go for it. I'm going to scroll all the way down. Scroll back up. Keep going. We need a song for this. We need to play some music.
Ready?
I'm ready. Stop. Marcella
Martin.
So if you're still on here,
Martin.
say hi.
Text or call or whatever you want to do to that number.
We'll drop in the mail probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
We'll drop it in the mail. I like giving silver away in the comments. Not all this, you got to follow me over here and follow me over there and make all these things. We just want to get silver in you guys' hands. And if you want to invest, put some of your net worth in precious metals, like a lot of the wealthy say 10 to 20%. That's a way to protect yourself. It's insurance. That's just kind of the world we live in. And a lot of people have insurance on their health and their car and all this other stuff. But why not put insurance on your wealth? It just made sense to me. So I've been doing it for a long time.
On a side note, real quick, before we let everybody go, and hopefully scroll down and see if she got it. Hopefully she actually saw it. I want to side note. Somebody sent me a YouTube video about gold and silver regarding the Bible. It was a very interesting video. And once again, I'm sorry I forget who it is, but it was awesome. How many times is it mentioned in the Bible? Gold is mentioned 419 times. This was a King James version he was using. Silver is 283 times. Gold is mentioned 1.48 times for every one silver mention. Usually together, though, and it's always mentioned as God's money. And in the Bible, it states you were considered wealthy if you had gold, silver, land, and animals. I thought that was really interesting.
It's still the same way.
It still is, yeah. And anyway.
The population's been lied to that wealth is actually the dollar value. But real wealth, tangible wealth. That's what we want to collect. That's what we want to hold. It's things you can touch, things that are going to be scarce in the future. All the things that God mentioned he's not making any more of, All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Have an awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.